It's time for Real Talk with Brian and Dan, the weekly talk radio show dedicated to discussing important real estate topics, plus insight into the local community. With a combined experience of over 50 years as local real estate brokers from the East Side Real Estate team at Keller Williams Realty Bellevue. Here's your hosts, Brian Levitt and Dan Edwards.
Good morning, Vietnam. Okay, I've always wanted to do that.
Well, that was your chance.
They give me a radio show and I pull it out. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. It's a beautiful spring day out there. As you can see, the skies are gray, and so that's fantastic, right?
April showers.
April showers are going to bring May flowers. Well, we have a great show lined up today. We're going to talk about some real estate, of course. That's what we do, right, Brian?
That's right.
Like nonstop. In our sleep, we're talking about real estate.
We eat, breathe,
breathe.
We live real estate.
Exactly. But more importantly, we're going to bring you some tips to help you through that spring cleaning. We have two fantastic guests with us here today, and we'll get into that. But first, let's kind of talk about something we hit on a little bit in last week's show, and that was getting down to the nitty-gritty and talking about contingencies. Now, when a lot of people mention contingency and contingency of the sale of the home, as brokers, we know we got to be a little more specific, right? So what are we talking about there, Brian?
So contingency is a generic term that could be anything within a real estate contract, a subject to. But in the way that we're using contingency in this discussion is contingent upon the sale of the buyer's home so that they can complete the sale of their new home. So buying your new home subject to the sale of your existing home. Right.
And it's probably common, but not so common based on the market that we've been in.
Right.
A lot of people, this is just me, but a lot of people don't want to be homeless, right? So when you go to purchase a home, you're like, well, what am I going to do? What's the timing? And that's where this contingency kind of evolved or began, right?
Yeah. And the word on the street is nobody accepts contingencies, but that's just not true. If you approach it very carefully, we've been very successful getting contingencies accepted.
Well, why would a seller not accept a contingent offer?
The uncertainty of the home not selling. And so that's the uncertainty we eliminate. We very carefully prepare the home for sale, the contingent property, so that what you got to realize, once a seller accepts a contingency, you got 5 days to get your home on the market. So we have to have it ready to go when the second we have that contract accepted. So staged, photographed, packaged, ready to go. And also with a pre-approval in hand for the buyer so that the seller is assured that it's not just the sale of the home, that we have any additional financing ready to go.
All right. So let's pack a lot of that stuff that you just talked about, because one of the things that many people may consider is, well, why is that so uncertain? I mean, I'm going to sell my house, aren't I? Right?
Well, yeah, you hope so, but it ain't over till it's over.
Yeah.
So what we do is we do a very detailed market analysis so we can show the contingent seller that we're pricing the home right. We show them the photographs, that we've got it prepared. We detail all of the improvements, all of the reasons that we're confident it'll sell.
So if I'm a buyer and I'm thinking about buying a home, what's the timing look like from purchasing a contingent home? What's the timing? Is it? And I guess what I'm getting at is, how do you find success as a buyer? Aside from being prepared and all that, what are the types of homes you're looking at, right?
Yeah. One thing is often the inventory has been scarce, although it's increasing right now, which is really moving towards a more balanced market. But often as soon as a home hits a market, there might be multiple buyers interested. At that point, a seller is less inclined to accept a contingency.
Right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate, right. But the other thing that Dan and I know is we're sometimes seeing homes that are fabulous homes, but they may have made a mistake of overpricing it, and those are going to sit around a while. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we evaluate to know what it really should be going for and encourage the contingency buyer to keep those in mind.
Right.
And there's a saying you'll hear us talk about, in real estate, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate.
Yeah.
And Dan and I are not afraid to step up and do the negotiation.
Well, and I think about that too. I think, how do I put my buyer in the best position, right? Because they are, 9 times out of 10, they'll say, listen, I don't want to buy a house if I haven't sold a house, and I don't want to sell, I don't want to list, I don't want to put my house on the market if I don't have a place to go. I don't want to be homeless. And I mean, how many times have you made somebody homeless, Brian?
Zero.
Good. All right.
36 years so far, so good. Right.
Good job. So obviously there's a method behind it, and it takes a lot of work and planning and strategizing, and also some realism, right? So I believe the most powerful offer that a seller can receive is an all-cash offer closing in 2 weeks, right?
Sure.
I mean, that's really it.
No
I'm going to tell my
contingencies.
seller, no contingencies, everything, that's the most powerful. So essentially a buyer has to put themselves in the seller's shoes.
Right.
They have to understand that if a seller is looking at an open market, and while inventory is increasing, we'll talk about the numbers here, while inventory is increasing, it's not increasing at the pace that people would make you think it is.
Right.
Like this time last year, we were at 1.5 months of inventory.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Now we're at 2. That's not that much more inventory. It seems like it. A lot of people are saying prices are falling. It seems like it, but it's
They're
still
not.
pretty
Prices
crazy.
not falling.
Yeah.
It's slowing down. It's moving towards a more normal market. So putting things into perspective here a little bit, this is all about risk and risk aversion. The least risk method of buying is a contingency, but it's also the most costly. Often a buyer is going to pay a premium to get a seller to accept a contingent offer, and they're going to be frequently more motivated to sell their home quickly, sometimes for less money. So it's the least risk transaction, so for the most risk-averse client. But then again, that's right for many people. It's not a right or wrong question. So a lower risk, a higher risk, but and probably better in the money is if you can buy your new home before you sell.
Right.
But then you're in a position of risk of owning 2 homes. In this market, that's not been a problem. We're selling them in record times. And so avoiding that double mortgage payment is crucial. I mean, there's a whole other issue here of being able to qualify for both, but that's something we can usually solve.
Yeah, and we've got great lenders that have solutions that we'll be talking to a little bit later. So the last thing is, like you said, you get what you negotiate, right? So I think one of the strategies that I always do whether I represent the buyer or the seller, if an offer comes in, I always talk to the other agent.
Right.
And I ask them, what's important to your seller?
Right.
What's important to your buyer? Because you would be surprised that if you just ask, you might find that the little thing that's important, meaning timeline, right? They want to be out by a certain time. They want to have no issues on inspection. And you can formulate a contingent offer that will give the seller everything that they need and put your buyer in that more conservative position of getting what they want.
And see, that's the art of negotiation, is finding out what the other party really wants. And every broker I talk to says, oh, it's money. It's not. Often time, I mean, I just talked about risk, and risk aversion is often more important. And so I think it's taking the time to really investigate the circumstances surrounding the entire transaction to package it in our client's best interest. And that's what we do.
Awesome. Well, that'll wrap it up. If you have questions about writing an offer, negotiating a contingent offer, any questions about real estate, you can reach out to the Eastside Real Estate Team. You can do that by giving us a call at 425-200-4093 or reach us online at theeastsiderealestateteam.com. Thanks for listening. We'll be right back.
Not sure if now is the right time to sell? Worried you missed the market? The Eastside Real Estate Team specializes in helping homeowners maximize their equity when selling. With our proven premier listing service, our clients have sold their homes for more money in less time than the competition. We know you have many choices when working with a real estate agent, but with the Eastside Real Estate Team, you get a team of highly qualified, experienced agents. From staging to deciding if your property is market ready for top dollar. If you're considering selling, call the Eastside Real Estate Team at 425-200-4093. Or check out our website at the eastsiderealestateteam.com, a subsidiary of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/1150KKNW.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Brian and Dan. I am Dan.
I'm Brian.
All right, so that was kind of fun, talking a little bit of shop. I appreciate your insights on that, Brian.
Yeah, Dan.
So we're going to now kind of move into what the heck just happened, the March Madness that hit the market. I don't know. Do you ever do one of those pools, the little March Madness pools?
Nope, have not done that.
Yeah, well, if you ever want to consistently throw away money, just reach out to me because I'm always
you're good at that, huh?
Yeah, I was in first place. I was in first place in my March Madness all the way up until like the Sweet 16, and then it was just absolute carnage. But we have somebody from the Virginia area here in studio. Was that a big deal? Were you guys excited?
Very excited. I won my bracket.
You won the
nice.
bracket. All right. So, yeah, I was just thinking about that. All right. So we're going to talk about March Madness as it applied to the real estate market. Every month, the middle of the month, we're going to kind of break what we saw happen in the previous month. You can go to our website and read the blog. You can listen to the radio show. We're going to kind of break down what we see is, well, first we'll provide the numbers and then give some insight.
Yeah, market recap.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So let's see. So here's what happened in March is both pending sales and new listing activity all around Western Washington surged. It surged as many buyers, sellers, and brokers emerged from that February snowmageddon that we had. Essentially, that February kept a lot of the inventory off the market and it kept a lot of buyers from doing work.
Got to tell you, I love snow days.
Snow days?
I can't show homes, but neither can my competitors.
Yeah, right.
So it's a free day.
Yay! Yeah. We actually just go around helping people out of the snow. That's with my little 4x4.
Yep. So March 2019 showed an increase of total active listings up 106% in King County and up 115% on the east side. So that's the inventory that could have been left over from February.
Yeah, and essentially with the inventory jumping like that, typically we're seeing more like a 35% increase. But in 1 month, that is clearly left over. That you're just not going to list your house when you got big snowbank out front. Right?
Yeah, I noticed on my listings just not getting the showing activity.
Right,
and but also when you can't get there, that's a clue.
Right.
Yep.
So now pending sales increased 5.5% in King County and 6.16% on the east side. Closed sales showed 7.62% decline in King County and a 7.52% on the east side. Clearly, closed sales being because a closed sale that is happening or showing up in the statistic line in March was in pending in February. Yeah, that's why we're seeing that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, would you say that we will most likely see pendings up and specifically closed sales up in April?
Yeah, I would say so because essentially what you're going to see now is all that pent-up stuff. People got out there and got busy and got after it in March.
So what do you think this means for the upcoming spring season?
Well, I think generally speaking, I've been doing this report for at least 6 to 8 years every month. So like in 2012, we're watching inventory because what I'm trying to do is get a feel from history what the future is going to look like.
Right.
And I think this year is going to look a lot like last year, but maybe a little delayed because of the weather event that we had.
Right.
What I would say is typically June last year, actually sales really slowed.
Right. That's pretty normal.
So if you're planning on listing in June, be prepared. You're probably going to be on the market a little longer than if you listed in May.
Right.
So
something I've experienced too is April is where I see more buyers coming on the market than any other month of the year. So as a seller, that's a great time to know that you're going to get more eyeballs on your listing, more showings. And as a buyer, we do see more listings coming on, so more inventory. So it's a terrific time. Yeah,
and I would say that you just like stock market, don't try and time the market.
Right.
You should always kind of look at things from a standpoint of when is it the right time for me, for my family, for my job, for my work, or for the opportunity, or for my finances.
Right.
I think it's really short-sighted to say specifically, well, I'm just going to hold off until a specific time to sell my house, or I'm going to list my house at this specific time because somehow I think that it's going to net me more. Because honestly, it's a supply and demand issue too.
Right.
So if the buyers are out on vacation on June, right, when school ends, school, I guess, is going to get pushed to the end of June. So maybe there will be some stuff. But I know the first part of June, you got graduation, you have high school graduation, college graduation, and of course, don't forget out there, Father's Day.
There you go. So, a little serendipitous moment for buyers with that February snowstorm was right about the time that ended up, interest rates dropped, biggest drop in 14 years.
Yeah.
So for people that got a little pause button hit then, that worked out nicely.
Yeah. The idea with that is paying attention to if nobody else is doing something, it might be a good opportunity. Not always. It's not always smart to just jump off a bridge, but if nobody's doing
zig when they zag.
Zig when they zag. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. So as a segue, we are going to bring in on the hotline one of our lender partners. So right as soon as we come back from this next break, we're going to welcome in Michael Burdick with Loan Depot, and he's going to kind of go over the numbers and where they're headed and where we can expect to see those go for the spring.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be right back.
Did you know when you pay rent, you're actually paying someone else's mortgage? Are you tired of missing out on owning your own home? Fact. Homeowners on average have 40 times the financial net worth of renters. The Eastside Real Estate Team has been helping many first-time homebuyers find and buy their first home. They specialize in customer service and put you first. They listen first to what you're looking for, and then they take the time to make sure their clients understand every aspect of the home buying process. If owning a home has been your dream, the Eastside Real Estate Team can help you. For a free, no-hassle consultation, call 425-200-4093 or find them online at the eastsiderealestateteam.com, a subsidiary of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue.
Giving local voices a chance to shine. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Brian and Dan. I'm Brian.
And I'm Dan.
This next segment features one of our recommended lenders. Today on the Loan Depot hotline, we have Michael Burdick, a loan originator and consultant with Loan Depot. Michael does not just originate loans, but works toward building a relationship with every client. Our team has recommended and worked with Michael over the years, and he has served our clients at a very high level. Please welcome Michael to the show.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Hey, thanks for joining us today. So tell us, what's going on in the mortgage world?
That is a good question. So,
Well, let's have a good answer.
Yeah.
all right. What's going on? One thing that's awesome and always a good thing for us originators is that interest rates have improved this year, especially in the last couple of weeks. They're probably at about 12 to 14-month lows right now. So what that does for us is it allows us to not only help new clients that are purchasing homes, but then our past clients, doing mortgage reviews for them, making sure that, if we can give them a better payment, we can do that. So that's one thing that's great. Another thing that's new in the mortgage world is, trying to become more streamlined and, allowing the digital age come to life and, all the processes that we do, just making sure that we're, ahead of the curve, ahead of the competition. And that's one thing that we're really concentrating on at Loan Depot.
Okay. So you say, interest rates are pretty low. Give me some context. I know that, essentially these are tied to certain loan programs and credit availability and all that good stuff. But I don't look at mortgage rates. I let my clients, talk to you and kind of dig deeper.
Can you share a range?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a very good strategy for a realtor because you don't want to set your client up and say, rates are 4%, and then they talk to me and they're 5%.
Right.
Because there's lots of factors.
I'm
that
not an
play
expert
into that.
there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's an algorithm, and once we talk and we realize their plan and their personal finances, then we can narrow it down and say, okay, these are your options, your personal options. They might be different than your friend or your colleague, but this is what your rates are. But if you have the vanilla 800 credit, 20% down guy, conforming conventional loan, you're going to be in the low fours right now.
Low fours.
So,
wow, that's awesome.
You could probably pay a little bit to get to the high threes, but we would just have to see if that would make sense for them.
Okay. So, that's like you said, the streamlined with 20% down, all that great credit above 800. Where do you think they're headed?
So that's a loaded
You had a crystal ball there?
Yeah. Can you look at the crystal ball?
It's my answer right now is probably a lot different than it was a few months ago because, all the news and all the updates that we receive and research at all the websites that we look at over the course of last year was that rates will hike in 2019, and they're going to continue to do that gradually. And now the Fed is saying they're pumping the brakes a little bit, and they're saying, well, maybe the economy is not ready for that. So they're saying that they should stabilize. They might come up a little bit, but I don't think that they're going to go too high in 2019, which is a good thing for buyers.
It's a little bit of stability there.
Yeah.
So, Michael, if a buyer were to get approved today, how long is that approval good for?
So when we run credit, that credit report lasts for 120 days. And then we're going to collect pay stubs, bank statements, and those last for about 30 days on the pay stubs and then a couple months on the bank statements. So really, they've got quite a bit of time. That credit report, if we stretch it out past 120 days, we can just repull. So it's quick to
So you can update it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good.
And then to speak on my first point about the technology, we're able to get these oftentimes digitally verified, so we can do the application and we get their income and their assets digitally verified, so they don't even have to track that stuff down. So that can, if we expire on a bank statement or a pay stub, we can just hit the button again and get it updated really quickly.
So are you seeing many appraisal waivers in this market?
More than we used to. Again, that's going to be on a 20% down client. We are seeing them on the refinance more than purchase, but that is something that we hope improves, and we're seeing more and more of them, which is awesome.
So for the listeners out there, an appraisal waiver is what?
Michael, go ahead. I'll take it if you
Expert.
don't.
Yeah, when we're doing an application, and whether we're looking at Zillow or just have an idea of what that house is worth, and we plug that in, we run our decision. It's all through an automated decision engine, and if that engine agrees with what we've inputted, we can proceed without ordering an appraisal.
Does that save the consumer money?
It does, yeah, absolutely, because we don't need to get an appraisal.
And time.
Sure.
Absolutely.
All right. So this is a show about homes and real estate, and we're talking real estate. And I didn't even put this on the question sheet, but can you tell us a story about your home and your experience growing up in the home that you grew up in? I think was also in Sammamish, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. The home that I grew up in Sammamish, that's what you're asking about?
Yeah, something fond, something that you remember.
Your home
from your
story.
childhood. Yeah.
Well, it's a funny story. So I grew up by Pine Lake in Sammamish, and my parents wanted to move us down to Lake Sammamish, and I was in tears. I didn't want to leave the neighborhood, because this was a neighborhood I rode my bike around, had a bunch of friends. Later, found out that moving on to Lake Sammamish was actually a good thing. And just seeing the way my parents had seeing the way my parents had invested and kind of lucked out, just with the market and how they were able to, buy properties and then watch the equity grow. And that's something that's always drawn me to this industry. It's just the American dream. So it's something that I can really get behind and get excited about. So yeah, I'm a hometown guy. Worked here and lived here my whole life.
Awesome.
That's
Thank
great.
you for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks, Michael.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being part of the show. Up next, our first guest, or I guess our second guest, is a memory saver. That's right. All those memories that you have laying around your home, stick with us. We'll be right back.
Before we go, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Hit it.
Little miscommunication. Michael, are you still there? Did I lose you?
I'm here.
Oh, you're still there?
Nope,
hey, how do callers get a hold of you?
Well, I am on the internet, so you can Google Michael Burdick Loan Depot, but the best number for me is 206-661-2289, and give me a call or send me an email once you look me up online.
All right. Thanks again, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
We'll be right back.
Do you have family home movies you can no longer enjoy because, you either tossed your VCR or your camcorder is broken? Lotus Media is here to help you relive the wedding memories, birthdays, trips, and holiday celebrations. We are a local business that specializes in future-proofing everything from VHS and high-8 videotapes to photos and slides and even 8mm film. Our process creates universal digital files from your precious memories, ensuring they can be enjoyed for generations to come. The videos can be viewed anywhere on your PC, web browser, or even your phone, and they are a snap to edit too. We have over 20,000 happy customers, including Starbucks. Our digitization prices are lower than Costco's, and most orders are processed in just 10 days. We digitize all tape formats, from all regions and can help repair your tape if it is broken or extract it from a camcorder if it is stuck. Visit us online to find out more at lotusmedia.us. Email us for more information at support@lotusmedia.us or give us a call at 855-LTS-MEDIA. That's 855-587-6334. One last time, 855-587-6334.
Get inspired every hour right here on Alternative Talk 1150.
Well, you know, one way I get inspired is that by looking at old family videos and photography going down that trip on memory lane. I'm Dan Edwards. You are here at Real Talk with Brian and Dan, and we are going to head off to our first in-studio guest.
And Gina Schulman is a proud mom of 2 beautiful kids and the owner of Lotus Media. She and her ruggedly handsome husband, Kirk, work tirelessly to ensure your videos and photos are treated with care and future-proofed for many generations to enjoy. And Gina attended Dartmouth College and grew up in the D.C. area working for tech companies such as AOL before moving the family to the Pacific Northwest. Welcome to the show, Gina.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad you're here. Before we get started, tell me a bit about yourself.
So I moved to the Seattle area about 4 years ago. And I think just now I'm considering the area home. So it took a little bit of time, but
welcome.
But yeah, thank you.
4 years?
4 years, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had 1 foot in the Northwest.
1 foot in, one foot out. Yeah, and I have 2 beautiful girls. They are 11 and 13, and clearly my husband is my copy editor on my website, but I left it in because he is ruggedly handsome.
Oh, so. He wrote the copy.
He wrote the copy.
Oh.
I thought Brian...
I was blaming Dan for that one.
Hey, I've met Kurt. He's very handsome. Yeah. I'm not sure about the rugged part.
You know, I let that one slide.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah. Well, he's going to hear this, so that's good.
Exactly,
All right, very
exactly.
good. He must need the affirmation, perhaps.
Yes, you know, maybe that's his love language, affirmation.
Right. Well, that's awesome. What are your hobbies when you're not working?
Well, I really love yoga, and I love to travel. We have some good trips scheduled up coming in the next couple of months, and just the husband and I are heading to Greece, which should be fun. And
just the two.
Just the two of us.
You and Mr. Ruggedly Handsome Kirk.
Exactly.
That's awesome. When is that?
In May. Yes, in the beginning of May. So that'll be a really fun trip, and we'll see where the rest of the year takes us and what other trips we've got planned, which would be awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. So the show's about real estate, but more importantly, it's a show about living in homes. What is one of your fondest memories of the home you grew up in?
Oh, that's a good one. So I grew up on the East Coast, and grew up in Maryland, in a little town that was right on the water. So one of my favorite memories growing up is we had a swing attached to a tree that overlooked our pier and the water. And I think I would just sit out there for hours and hours and hours.
What a great image.
Yeah, yeah, it was beautiful. And I got to see my mom just recently moved here to be, let's be straight, not to be closer to me, to be closer to the grandkids.
Oh, yeah, that's always the case.
She just moved. She just moved to the area. But my kids got a chance to sit on that swing and, you know, feed the ducks out there and throw rocks in the water. So I would say having that swing that, you know, such a little thing, right? Like attaching a swing to a tree, but that really made that house a home.
I love that. Yeah. And what's funny is every time we ask that question, that's going to be a common theme in this show, just because that's what this is about.
That's what home is.
That's what home is. So, and you can picture it, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing, was it a green swing?
Yeah, it was one of those. Yep, one of
those. It was green.
Yeah.
See,
there you go.
You're there. You're
right?
there.
It's so cool. I love that. And we're on a radio talk show, so you know, being descriptive, we want to do that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, so let's get down to business.
Yeah.
And Gina, what is Lotus Media? What do you guys do?
Yeah, so Lotus Media is a company that digitizes home movies and photographs, and we really just want to give that personal family touch to people's memories. Like, you know, if you ask anyone if their house was burning down, what would they grab after their kids and their pets?
Dog.
Yep, and their dog,
Yeah.
right? It would be their photo albums and their wedding rings and things like that. It's those memories that really keep people, you know, fill people's hearts. So we really just try to preserve those things for future generations for people.
One of my friends' home was burglarized not that long ago, and he he told me about that, and he says, I'm heartbroken. Nothing of value was stolen. All they took was the money. They left the photos, the letters, the cards.
Yeah.
So really, that's
Yeah.
the valuable stuff.
Exactly.
You know, funny story along that is, so we just recently went overseas, my family did. And so my wife always will hide the keys to the safes and the checkbooks and all that stuff. Keys are still lost. We don't know.
Well, it's safe. Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Runs in her family.
One day you'll find those keys.
Right. They'll just pop up. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
now I guess we can get into those photos.
Exactly.
Well, I don't have to worry about it because mine are digital now.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's so funny.
So what type of media do you transfer?
You know, we do it all. We do all the way from the old 8mm reels to slides to photos to your VHS tapes to your high 8mm. So, you know, those tiny little guys that you used to see. The only thing we don't do is audio reels. If you have any audio reels at your house, you really want to send those to California, someplace that has really high tech, quality, like in the movie industry. But that's the only thing we don't do are the digital reels, but we do everything else.
So Betamax?
We do Beta.
Oh, wow.
We do Umatic.
I got to talk to you about my floppy disks.
Floppy disk?
We do floppy disk. Yeah, we do.
Wow.
We do everything, and we actually also do like your kids' drawings that they had from kindergarten.
Really? Wow.
You know, of those scribble scrabbles that are just so precious to you. I know we have a few of those that we have on rotation on one of our digital photo screens, but we can digitize even those memories that you want to save but don't want cluttering up your house.
Awesome. What got you started? I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to start a, preservation business.
Yeah, so we actually sent our photos off to a different company a long time ago, I'd say about 6 years ago, and no communication. So I boxed up all of my photos and shipped them off to this company, and I emailed them and called them and got no information back of if they'd received my photos, if they were going to digitize my photos, what was going to happen with them. And we finally got them back 7 months later.
Oh, my God.
And
Wow.
7 months was too long
Right.
to not know about our precious memories. So we had another round. After we did our photos, my kids wanted to see some old videos of plays I was in school. And I said, absolutely not. We're not sending these off. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, we're going to have to find a VCR or something. So after that, we started digitizing our own items, and friends and family were like, hey, can you digitize our items? And we really realized that we were setting up a need for people who didn't want to ship their things away and wanted to actually talk to a person. And so anyone who calls us talks to me or usually they talk to me, and they know that, and if they want me to call them when I receive their items, I let them know, and I really have that personal touch with people so they know their memories are safe.
So where do you process the transfer, and what is your turnaround time?
Yeah, so we process in Bellevue, Washington, and a lot of people don't know that most of these are processed outside of the United States. So when you send your photos or your videos to a lot of people, they ship them out of the country because you can get a much better rate of return for your money if you ship them out of the country.
Wow.
But we do everything in the United States, which I think is really important.
So if you come back to that analogy of, your child, your pet, your photos, the fact that you went 7 months without communication.
Yeah.
And, Brian and I in the real estate business, we have to communicate constantly. And actually, that's the difference between a great experience and one that's really frustrating. So if you're talking about if you were going to send your child off for 7 months, my son, text, I want to know where you're at, what you're doing, who are you with? I mean, it's the same thing.
That's a long time.
And the
long time,
niche that
yep.
you fit it's the level of communication that makes a
Yeah,
difference.
I think that really makes a difference, especially people want to tell their stories and tell you what you're digitizing. And I'm happy to listen to those stories, and I find them very interesting, and I love to know what special thing we're doing for people. And our turnaround time right now is about 10 business days.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
quick.
in 10 business days, where you can still call us after a week and say, hey, I still want to make sure you still have it, and we'll let you know. But it's 10 business days, which is really, really quick.
Mm-hmm.
So how does somebody get their media to you?
Yeah, so in the Bellevue area, we actually are considered an online company, kind of like Amazon. So in the Bellevue area, we actually have a couple of options. You can mail your tapes into us. You can schedule a pickup. And if you're in a 30-mile radius of Bellevue, I will go to your house and pick them up for you, and it's a small fee for that. Or I'll do a pickup location in the Bellevue area. But you can get in touch with us by going to our website, which is www.lotusmedia.us. And it has a great FAQs on there. It has our information, and you can learn all about us there.
There's some testimonials as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Great. So one last question. Following the spring cleaning theme, tell me a story about a time where you helped someone with an amazing spring cleaning process.
Yeah, so we help a lot of empty nesters, so people whose kids have just gone off to college. And we get boxes that are sometimes not very organized, just thrown in with pictures and videos, just all piled in all together. And we had this lady just recently, she is a local customer, and she threw all this stuff in a box, and she's like, I don't know what's in here, and I just need to get it organized, and I don't know what it is. And we said, we'll take good care of you. And we did all the items for her. And when she got her videos back, she had videos of her grandfather that had passed away a year ago, and she hadn't seen any of those images. And she really didn't care what else is in that box after she saw those images, because that was really she didn't
brought it back for her.
Brought it back to her, and she didn't even realize that it was just thrown in the box with everything. So I really like that.
I had a personal story like that too, because I'm not the most organized person. So we just had a box, and I sent it over to Angina, and we thought we had lost the wedding video, like the videotape of our wedding. And so that was like one of the first things I was like, oh my gosh, it was so cool. And just sit there and kind of just hang out and watch the wedding, because I hadn't seen it since we're coming up on 20 years.
So there you go.
Yeah, and now you can do it every year.
Now I watch it all the time.
It's on your phone, right?
Let's
It's on
review
your
those
phone.
vows.
It's on my phone now.
That's great.
Yep. That way I can remember my vows.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Angina, thank you so much for joining us on Real Talk with Brian and Dan. Folks, I highly recommend Lotus Media. They do a fantastic job. And the one thing she didn't mention, it's a fraction of the price you're going to set if you go to some of the competitors out there. To reach Angina at Lotus Media, you go to www.lotusmedia. That's LOTUSMEDIA.US. So stay tuned. Our next guest, Jamie Bourne of Born to Organize, is going to be here and drop some organizational knowledge. Please come right back.
Do you have family home movies you can no longer enjoy because, you either tossed your VCR or your camcorder is broken? Lotus Media is here to help you relive the wedding memories, birthdays, trips, and holiday celebrations. We are a local business that specializes in future-proofing everything from VHS and Hi-8 videotapes to photos and slides and even 8mm film. Our process creates universal digital files from your precious memories, ensuring they can be enjoyed for generations to come. The videos can be viewed anywhere on your PC, web browser, or even your phone, and they are a snap to edit too. We have over 20,000 happy customers, including Starbucks. Our digitization prices are lower than Costco's, and most orders are processed in just 10 days. We digitize all tape formats from all regions and can help repair your tape if it is broken, or extract it from a camcorder if it is stuck. Visit us online to find out more at lotusmedia.us. Email us for more information at support@lotusmedia.us, or give us a call at 855-LTS-MEDIA. That's 855-587-6334. One last time, 855-587-6334.
Real people, real life, real radio. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Brian and Dan. I am Dan.
I'm Brian.
Our next guest, as I mentioned, is a professional organizer, Jamie Bourne. She's been simplifying the lives of others since she was a child. Her passion for organizing began with her grandmother's home, where she attempted to declutter a simple hallway closet at the age of 10. Jamie earned her bachelor's degree in environmental studies and urban planning in 2003, but quickly realized that her ideal working environment was in the residential sector rather than in an office. In 2015, Jamie moved to Bellevue, Washington, and opened up Born to Organize. Before opening Born to Organize, Jamie honed her organizational skills as a household manager and a personal assistant with private households. Born to Organize specializes in general household organization, downsizing, move-in assistance, and much, much more. Jamie works with seniors, mothers, busy professionals, and all who have experienced a life change or have never established organizational systems within the home, aka myself. Unlike, my wife does a great job of it, though, let me tell you. Coming back to this, Born to Organize is also a licensed general contractor with a skilled carpenter who assists with handyman projects. Wow, I didn't know that. As well as larger installations. Born to Organize, I'm just thinking about a closet installation that I had. Born to Organize also offers comprehensive home sales preparation for clients who decide to move into smaller homes once they've established organizational strategies. Jamie is a proud member of the National Association of Productivity and Organizational Professionals and serves as the membership director on the board of the local Seattle area NAPO chapter. She is a hands-on organizer who isn't afraid to get dirty and uses an individualized approach with every client to create simple systems, declutter, ultimately transform houses from anxiety and stress, including into homes that can be enjoyed that exude a sense of calm. See, I'm exuding a sense of calm now. So please welcome to the show, Jamie Bourne. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for having me today.
That was a mouthful.
I'm sorry.
Well, there you go.
All right. So before we get into the business side of things, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I would describe myself as a minimalist. I'm very passionate about the environment, and I have a 24-year-old son. I like to snowboard on occasion, and I love yoga as well.
Did you get up to the mountains this winter?
Twice.
Okay.
That's
on
not
occasion.
very many.
It was some good snow this year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was 2 more times than the last 2 years.
So progress, right?
Yeah.
Very good.
So what do you like to do when you're not organizing things?
I like to snowboard. I like
Snowboard,
to do yoga. I like to... We'll start this one over.
She probably likes to organize
You like to
so
organize.
much.
I love to
So I like
organize.
the
Never
10-year-old
not
Okay,
part.
organizing.
let's start this one over. What I love to do right now is to create furniture, custom furniture
Really? Oh, cool.
Wow.
from salvaged materials.
Yeah.
So I've made a desk and a coffee table, and that's all I've made so far.
That's cool.
Well, if you need live edge material, let me know.
Oh, thank you.
That's
What?
one of my hobbies. Live edge.
I don't know
I have
what that is.
I have a sawmill. I can take an
Are you
entire
serious?
tree and just boom, do slabs.
Remember
It's
that
been
barn,
pretty-
you guys? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I purchased a live edge oak
Yeah,
slab.
yeah.
That's what I used for it was about a 9 to 10 foot slab
Yeah.
from a second use building materials.
See, I'm kind of kicking myself because we took down 2 big trees on our property and I had it all bucked, for firewood. I thought, oh my gosh, I should have
my.
made it like 2 or 3 mantles out of that.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
Definitely.
Timber time.
I knew a guy with a sawmill. I forgot.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a show about real estate. Okay. And I really want to hear your story about growing up in the home you grew up in and some fond memories from that.
Okay. I grew up in a small town in Northern California near San Francisco, and the homes were about 5,000 square foot lots, and they were relatively small homes, 2 to 3 bedroom, 1-story homes. And my fondest memory is the sound of the train passing while I was playing in the front yard with the neighbor kids, and also picking cherries from my neighbor's tree. And we did lock him out of his house once.
Oh. Why did you do that?
We were just having fun.
So the train going by was something that you can still, in your mind, you can remember that was a part of just playing and enjoying your home.
Definitely. A lot of people associate trains with a blaring horn, and it drives them crazy. And it's a soothing sound to me for some reason, because that was part of my neighborhood and my
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
growing up experience. Yeah.
See, I'm going to use that next time when I try to sell a house near train tracks. It's like, no.
Let's
this is
create some
soothing.
memories.
Exactly. You can make something that's not,
It's a feature. It's a
Yeah.
feature. Sorry.
Well, I had
everything can be good.
a couple purchase a home just overlooking 405. And of course, most people walk to the front door and like, no way. And this was a retired couple. And the guy says, I like to just sit here and watch the activity. And, on the, it was in Kirkland. They also got beautiful sunsets across Lake Washington, but the freeway didn't bother them a bit. They liked the activity. So there's a buyer for every home.
That's right. That's right.
Definitely.
So getting down to business, why in the world would somebody hire a professional organizer?
Well, there are a lot of reasons to hire a professional organizer. For one, life gets very busy, and people have a lot to juggle. We have work, we have interests inside the home, outside the home, and most people, believe it or not, aren't motivated to organize their things during their downtime. So a professional organizer or myself, as myself.
Do you think part of that's the emotional attachment? That they have trouble separating? I mean, I assume part of the organizing is probably getting rid of stuff, decluttering. Is there an emotional attachment issue with
I think
things?
People usually don't know where to start, and they're really not interested in spending their downtime organizing a drawer.
I know exactly where the stuff on my desk is.
Good.
And so I save myself time by not putting it away.
Oh, there you go. I've heard it all now.
So your system works for you.
So that's a system. It's true.
It
The
is.
problem is with the system is when something changes in that system and that thing that I put somewhere is no longer there. Anyways, I digress. So you say a proud member of the National Association of Productivity and Organizational Professionals.
Yes.
What is that and why is it important?
NAPO is a national organization, and the organization has an established code of ethics for organizers and offers really great educational opportunities and provides a community for organizers to discuss different issues together that we come upon. We are very small businesses usually, and we need people to interact with who have experienced similar situations, been in similar situations. So the local Seattle NAPO chapter is my favorite part because there are about 40 organizers that get together once a month, and we at the Coast Bellevue Hotel, and we have a presenter, and we talk about all types of situations that come up during different jobs, and we support each other. We are resources for one another. We refer each other, and we really love to talk about organizing. So it's a really fun meeting. I know that probably sounds funny to a lot of people.
No, it's good that you love your work. It's apparent that you do so. So, Jamie, tell me a story of an especially challenging job you've completed.
Okay, well, I don't have a specific example about a challenge, but the biggest challenge that I encounter overall is when a client asks, how long will a job take? There are so many variables involved in any job, and they're dependent on the type of items we're organizing. For example, a box of papers takes a lot longer to organize than a box of clothes. And it also a project timeline is impacted by how fast a person can move. I don't expect a senior client to move boxes. I want to set them up for success, and I want them to be comfortable. So if we are organizing in a garage, for example, I often get them a chair and a side table, and sometimes a blanket because it gets really cold in Washington.
Right.
And ask them questions, and I do the lifting. So it might take a little bit longer, but it's very effective, and we make really good use of the time, even though it might take a tiny bit longer.
Sure. Do you ever work in conjunction with home stagers?
I have a few times, and often I do a lot of staging when I know someone is selling their home, because I know all of their items and I know what they're going to get rid of or donate. And so I have a really good eye, and so I'm able to keep those items, and it really just helps the stager along if they are going to have one.
The first step in staging is declutter. So I could really see you being a huge benefit in that process.
Absolutely. I mean, and honestly, that's a lot of just being ready, right? So we talked earlier at the beginning of the show, right, of contingent offers, and the declutter is something that, let's say that house never shows up, you never write that contingent offer. Well, because you were in a position to have somebody like Jamie come in and kind of help you with that process, there's also an emotional aspect to decluttering, right? And I won't mention the something bringing me joy. Not that matters.
Oh, there you go.
But there is.
Well, our clients are talking about that.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, but at the same time, right? there's a lot of stress associated with a big box full of stuff that's been around and been in your family. You don't know if your grandkids are going to want it, your daughter's going to want it, your son or whatever. And so it can paralyze folks. And to have somebody just to talk to about it.
Right.
Man, Jamie, I think that's an amazing service.
So
Definitely.
Before the show, Jamie and I were chatting about something I'm running into now with my seniors who are moving into, they're downsizing or moving into retirement apartments. And it's that sometimes the kids don't want their treasure. There's clients that have items that are just their treasure that the kids, I had to think of one recently, crystal, beautiful, beautiful crystal, and the kids aren't interested. And so I'd appreciate if you'd share a little bit of what we chatted about concerning that.
Definitely. I'd love to share about this. To me, it's really hard for the parents who want their children to take these items, and these items are really important to the parents. And so I would encourage the children to take a few of those things or to discuss it. If there's china and furniture and other things, I would encourage the children to talk about to suggest taking one item and letting them know that they will honor that item.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what difference is it going to make, right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
And it's up to the child, who is an adult at this point, and that it's up to them once their mother or father passes away, they can decide then if they want to take. They might value it more, and it might have more meaning after that. And so I don't recommend just getting rid of things.
Right.
All right. So this next question is actually for my wife, Lisa.
Okay.
Her husband is an incredibly disorganized
I knew you were dying
individual.
to ask this one, Dan.
She wanted to ask this question. She said, Dan, will you please ask Jamie this question for me? My husband's an extremely disorganized person. Does that make him a bad person?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Now, can I elaborate on this a bit?
I hear a butt coming.
No buts.
No, please elaborate. And
what I want to say is that there are times where we experience life changes, and I've experienced a lot of life change over the past few years myself. In 2017, I was divorced after being with my husband for 20 years, and I made sure to give myself as much time as I needed to create new systems and to learn about and feel comfortable in my new space. It happens, and some people are very visual. Keep the papers on the desk like you seem to like to do. And then there are people who don't like to see anything. And so I'm able to incorporate both of those.
Awesome. And when I think about that too, right? The human condition, we like systems, we like automatic, and so when we have that kind of setup, it's a matter of adapting, like you said, to what is your system of organization. You hear that, Lisa? I love you. Okay.
I love you too, Lisa.
So with our theme of spring cleaning and downsizing, how can Born to Organize help?
Born to Organize can help in a lot of ways. My recommendation is a garage organizing project. It is a project that you get a sense of accomplishment very quickly. You can see the change occur really fast. And usually there's a husband and wife or a couple who work with me on garages for some reason. And so we're able to accomplish a very large amount of work in a pretty small amount of time.
Awesome.
What's your favorite source of storage containers?
My favorite source of storage containers, I first like to use containers that are already there. I try to reuse anything that people have so that I'm not wasting.
I didn't mean like shipping containers. I meant like plastic boxes.
And I used to purchase containers from Storables, and now they are sadly closing. And so I do love the Container Store. Their containers are really great quality. Also, you can find containers, though, at IKEA and Home Depot, Lowe's, Target. I do not discriminate against containers. So
what's the best way to get in touch with you?
The best way to get in touch with me is to call me. My phone number is 650-274-4308. And I also am available through my website, born, in the number 2, organize.com. And I have an email, which is born, BOURNE, 2, organize @gmail.com.
Well, Brian, that was it. It's a wrap. Number 2 in the books.
Nice. So remember, in real estate, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate.
And also, organization and savings comes in a lot of different ways. And our 2 guests, again, I just want to thank Gina Schulman with Lotus Media. I want to thank Jamie Bourne with Born to Organize. You can find them on our website, the Eastside Real Estate Team, to connect up with them. And if you have any real estate related questions, just give us a call at 425-200-4093. That's 425-200-4093, or on the web at the eastsiderealestateteam.com. I thank you very much for joining us on Real Talk. I am Dan.
And I'm Brian.
Thanks for listening.